Can I ask a question? How long does Arteta get? I'll say my piece first.
What's the full question? Because
how long does he get without having won a major before we
maintaining this level though?
Maintaining this level. How long does he get? For me, if Mikel doesn't win it next year and doesn't win it the year after, the conversation will then become, okay, is he the man?
Yeah.
But then the conversation has to go to, is there another man that can hold the levels that he has brought to this club and improve it to beat the Usain Bolt, which is Man City? And I don't know if that guy's out there.
It's a huge question.
It is.
And as we start to answer it, like, it's one of those questions which is almost like, I mean, no offence when I say this, because I was actually going to ask this question anyway.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
But it's almost a slightly, I don't want to say pointless question, but it's a bit like, we have no idea what 12 months' time looks like, does it?
Yeah, it's true.
We just, if Saka, Ødegaard, Saliba, Gabriel, Raya all get injured next season long term, and we finish second, I'm not sitting there going, get rid of him, But at the same time, that's extreme context. But sometimes extreme context plays a part. It's a really, I'll get your answers first, but I think I just want to come in on that question and just say that it's one of those where we can have a good idea as to how a season might play out because we've seen enough football or whatever. But it's just also still so hard to know what in 12 months' time things look like. If Xabi Alonso goes on to do another unbeaten season and wins the Champions League, we'll go, this is the next Pep Guardiola, do everything to get him. Like, I don't know, there's different concepts. But Baz, I mean, I say it's a part weird question, but it's also a good question because I think the hierarchy will also be thinking we need to get it over the line.
Yeah.
So where are you with it, Baz?
I mean, in terms of Mikel Arteta and how much time I give him is as long as we stay at the level we are right now is a bare minimum, right? And go beyond that. We talk about letting Mikel Arteta go, almost sacking him. Why would you sack Mikel Arteta? Do you think finishing second is a sackable offence? And that's what I'm talking about in terms of competing with Pep, of all people. I guess if another team was to win a title apart from City and Arsenal, it would hurt, and then you start to question it. But the question, it's a right thing to say of who do you replace him with then? You can't just go and give me a big name. I want someone that can play also a style of play that makes us competitive over a season. You look at Carlo Ancelotti, for example. I'd love him at Arsenal, right? And especially in the Champions League. But in the Premier League and his style of football, without the likes of Bellingham and Vinicius, could he play that style of football Mikel has with the players that we have against Pep? And I don't know, I'm not sure. So that's where it's always a bit of a weird question for me that we're even talking about sacking Mikel Arteta at this stage. I guess if we regress next year, finish outside of the top four, win no trophies whatsoever, you can talk about that. But we could win a trophy next year, finish fifth, and you still want to sack him, right? So I want to still compete for the title as a bare minimum. And that for me is still kind of crazy because a couple of years ago, we weren't talking about a title. It was, could we make top four? Maybe we're not quite sure. Yeah. So I feel like with the way Mikel has done for Arsenal, he deserves at least 1 or 2 more years minimum. But yeah, if I see us regress and I then see another option going, he's the clear and obvious candidate to replace him, go for it. But unless I see a Pep Guardiola in the market, I'm not going to just change him for no reason. Curtis,
I think it's fair to say, right, with Arteta, you've never been quite as convinced as other people, but I also think you've actually been fair in that when he's performed well, you've never had a problem saying he's doing well. Yeah. Now that the few weeks, at that end of the season, the disappointment not getting it done has passed, where do you land on it? Where, and I'm talking not just on Arteta, but you're feeling about the team and its trajectory. But starting with the manager, where are you with Mikel Arteta? What do you have he likes the word non-negotiable. Do you have non-negotiables for him as a fan?
Listen, I think every Arsenal fan can see there's been progress, whether you're a big fan of him or not, like the way we're playing football, the style of football, the feeling amongst the club, having our players tied down to long contracts and things like that.
Having good players
as well.
We sort of overlooked that. We actually have players we're proud of.
Yeah.
Coquelin was on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. That wall's going to have better players on it. For me, I mean, listen, again, context comes into account. We don't know how next season's going to look, but where I'm at with Arteta, I think he has to deliver a major this season. And I know, like you said, we don't have a divine right to just say we're going to finish above Manchester City, but I think this is his 6th season at the club, 5th full season. So he had the half and then the foot. And I think, okay, the last 2 years we've competed, but we still got to look at that and go, 6 seasons at one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Depending on what he did win, but at the moment, obviously, 1 FA Cup and Community Shields, I think I still believe that at this stage we could have won more silverware. Now, he might be saying, look, I'm not really focusing on the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, but I do think winning those trophies more would have helped to maybe win the Premier League as well. People say you can't replace him, but then we brought him from nowhere in terms of management. He was an assistant manager. So I don't think we have to have this fear that, oh, if Arteta was to go, we can't replace him, or because sometimes I do think some managers, they build the foundation and then somebody else sometimes comes in and sort of gets you over the finish line. I know we've spoken about Liverpool a lot and said Brendan got this exciting team, but he couldn't win the trophy. Klopp came in, got them over the finish line. And I know everybody says, you know, Pep's here, and I'm with all of you. Pep's the best manager on the planet. It's not easy to get past him. But as you said, Klopp's leaving Liverpool now, 7 trophies in 9 years. The majority of that time, Pep's been here. So you can win trophies. Sometimes you've actually got to win trophies around Manchester City. So, all right, they win the league, but if they get knocked out the FA Cup, we should win the FA Cup. If they get knocked out the Champions League, okay, Madrid are still there. It's difficult. But I still think amongst this Pep Guardiola era, you can win major trophies. Wenger won trophies when Ferguson was here. Mourinho came here, won trophies. So my expectation might be a little bit high with him, but I kind of think now he's got to.
But you said the 2 majors. If he finishes second again, takes it to the final day and wins the FA Cup, are you looking at and going, progress, okay, go again? Because for me, I mean, I just can't be mad at falling shy to probably the greatest Premier League manager of all time. I think I have Fergie there, but as a coach, I mean, Pep Guardiola is so special. One of the greatest managers ever. If you've just fallen short of that and won an FA Cup, for me, that for me is you've actually done all you can
but
to have a successful
my thing is always though, at what point does that stop? Like, because people every year say, yeah, but he's done that. So at what point do we go, actually, he does have to win something?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's all about, for me, it's all about what's out there, because I'd almost, this might sound like a really harsh statement, right? But if there's a manager out there that we know is the guy and can get it done, then I actually think, I mean, there's the argument, you keep waiting for Mikel because he's still a young manager, keep getting better. But I'm much more inclined to go, but we could have that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's not out there.
Yeah.
Ancelotti's at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola obviously wouldn't come. Jurgen Klopp isn't going to manage another club in England. So we're hoping but the questions around managers is Nagelsmann going to be that guy? Didn't quite work for him at Bayern Munich. Is Tuchel that guy? Who else is there out there?
But could you not get Alonso? Could you not get
Alonso's one, I
Inzaghi?
think,
Ancelotti might leave Madrid next year.
But the only thing I would say is, we talked about Mikel maybe laying the foundations. Those managers will have their own styles of play.
Yeah.
There will be players that are very integral to Mikel Arteta that won't be integral to them. And that's why I'm not really on the side of the argument of he'll lay the foundations and someone will just get over the line. He'll have his own style of players.
I think I need to get to the point where there's regression to go, I'm willing to pull the trigger, unless that's such a horrible saying, but like I'm willing to.
We're talking about a manager that had, for Arsenal's history, most ever wins, most ever goals, I think most ever points or 1 point off.
1 point.
1 point off.
So
the fact that we're talking about sacking him is crazy to me.
Well, we're not talking about sacking him.
But like
we're
moving
talking
them
about
on,
targets,
right?
aren't we?
And
we're
I feel
talking
like
about what is the
target is a
bare
win title
minimum.
for sure. Benham, that is that, and if we don't get Champions League, you sack him. That's for sure, right? That's the guarantee for me at least.
Top 4.
Yeah, top 4.
So you keep him if he gets top 4, even if it's fourth.
I think next year, for example, with Pep still being there, if we finish second, I'll accept that. 3rd and 4th, I start to question it. 50's gone,
with Pep
right?
there,
50's gone, right?
You want to win it while Pep's here, don't you? You don't want to wait for him to go.
Last year,
if we get to next year and Pep wins his final title at City in his final year, which is very plausible with Pep, right? And we finish a point off, or even behind a goal difference, it's possible. We get to the Champions League final but losing the final. You sack Mikel Arteta then?
Obviously, like we said, context is different.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I want to be like we were last year.
But I think,
at bare minimum.
they say if you're standing still, you're not moving forward.
Of course.
We can't. I just think to get back to the top, we've got to have that mindset that we have to win. And that's a high demand and a high pressure.
Does he not encompass that more than most, though, at the club? That's the one thing I'll say.
Yeah.
And I'm not... Sounds like I'm trying to make loads of excuses for him. I mean, the work he's done has been unbelievable. You think he can win the title with Arsenal?
Absolutely.
I think he can win the title.
Yeah, of course.
Do you think he can win the title with Arsenal?
I'm unsure.
You're unsure?
Yeah.
Fair enough.